cool. Jacob, if you don't mind, I'll just kind of dive right into the next session and talk a little bit about the builders program of IPFS and Filecoin, which we kind of implicitly talked about for the last bit, where Alec and Karen already shared their journey through an accelerator. So let me just share my screen here and talk about some of those post-hackathon opportunities, not in the context of a casual conversation, but a little bit more structured. So once again, I kind of Vuk was kind of talking about it already. The ecosystem that's growing around IPFS and Filecoin is growing, and it's our strongest asset in growing this Filecoin network and Web3 in general. We have, with the Filecoin network, on the one side, a rapidly expanding side of storage capacity of the network. So today we have over 4,000 storage providers all across the globe, and they're providing 18 million terabytes of storage capacity, which is an insane amount, and wildly exceeds our expectations from when we launched the mainnet about a year and a half ago. It's also 18 million terabytes is about 1% of total cloud storage capacity. So that's really cool to see, and it's still growing at a very fast rate. And then on the other hand, we have this increasing demand for all of that storage capacity from an explosively growing ecosystem. And there are now it's actually over 450, I think, startups when I last looked at this number. So I got to update the slide. Startups that are in this ecosystem, and you just heard from 3 of them that are operating in the space and are building great products and services. And there's a combined total of over 9,000 developers who are contributing to Filecoin and IPFS and various other technologies that are kind of adjacent or built on top of it on GitHub. And Outlier Ventures in EDC in the tweet found that, as with that, Filecoin, while not as large as Ethereum, as Vuk already pointed out, is still one of the most actively developed blockchain protocols. And we're not seeing that slow down despite kind of the macro trend in the market. So with these 330 startups and 9,000 developers, like how do we ensure, and that is my role, right? So I co-lead the builders program for IPFS and Filecoin, where our mission is to inspire and empower the next generation of builders and really help them make the internet more decentralized, robust, and secure with the types of services that they build. And there's a couple of things that we do to kind of make that happen. One of them is hackathons, right? And you're at one of our major events of the year, and there will be lots of people watching what you're building. We do now we're part of around 5 hackathons per month. And just in the first half of this year, we've touched over 30,000 people via our events. And we've received since last year in April over 2,300 submissions to all the various hackathons, and that represents around 7,000 builders since the inception of the program. And we're aiming to keep growing that number. And I hope that many of you will submit a project at the end of this hackathon. But then, once again, that's not the end of it, right? So hackathons is really just the first step, and we want to celebrate the builders that submit projects, and we are here to support the next steps, right? So I try to kind of put this on the slide here, how that journey might look like for some of you. So you might join the HackFS project, and we have a grants program, and I'll double click into that in a second. And then you heard from Karen and Alec about the accelerator program, one of which is the Tachyon one. And then after that, you may go on to secure some seed investments from venture capital funds across the globe. And just like 2 stories, you heard from 2 of them on the panel, or 3 with Brooks and Philmine. There's many others, right? So I know there's, in our current acceleration cohort, we have over 20 teams that started in a hackathon. And here's just like 2 anecdotes on the slide. So Secured Finance, which raised $4 million in the summer of last year, actually started at HackFS in summer 2020. So similar to Alex's story. And then we have another team that just joined in the first quarter of this year, the accelerator program with Techstars, and they started in a hackathon in November and then applied for a grant in December and kind of took it from there. And even if company building is not for you, right? And we talked about some of those big challenges that come along with it. And there's a lot of opportunities for folks who want to drop out of building their own company, maybe temporarily put it on hold, to explore in the ecosystem for jobs and other career opportunities. And if at some point you want to come back in, that's totally possible. So all the programs are obviously open to projects that are coming from and have been incubated elsewhere. Let me maybe double click into the grants program just for a second. So this is really designed for all sorts of people. I'll highlight a few. So one is, foundations that want to move this space forward, maybe a company that's looking to accelerate the development of some features, or a developer team that's itching to hack on Filecoin tools and IPFS tools after a hackathon maybe. And we have two types of programs that we do there. We have what's called the Next Step Grant, and that's pretty much open for all hackathon submissions and winners in particular, and that just gives them a little bit of additional funding and resources with no expectations apart from keep building and building out your project. And then we have an open grants category with different other kinds of formats where you get, once again, financial support, but then also technical expertise that can flank your development and really help you. And just in the first or in the last quarter, so the second quarter of 2022, we approved over 150 grant applications, and about 50% of those are stemming from hackathons. So I was super happy to see that, because it really shows that this idea that we can help people progress with their projects through the different stages and kind of tailor the kind of support that we provide by seeing that much traction for the program. And then the other thing that I want to highlight is that acceleration program. We actually have several running every year, and they're, these programs are designed for dedicated founders that are looking for that mentorship that from people all around the space. And you had Gabriel's name mentioned, but there's a few other people, and here's just a few on the slide here, but Juan Benet, who started Protocol Labs and originally conceived of IPFS and Filecoin, and Molly, who does product at Protocol Labs, and Andrew, who is the co-founder of Textile and Tablelands, which is one of the projects that Wook mentioned. So lots of great people here to learn from and that can support you. And we're doing these with these acceleration programs with different partners. The one that's opening for application soon is actually Outlier Ventures. But the others are also here, right? So Longhash, we have one with the India Blockchain Accelerator, Alliance, Faber, and the one that we talked about a lot during the conversation earlier with Tachyon, that will also likely renew. So lots of opportunities here. If you want to learn more about them, reach out to myself directly, or go to our website, hackathons.filecoin.io, and there's a section on post-hackathon opportunities where you can double click into some of these and learn more about kind of the things that are open to you. With that, I'll stop talking and hand the mic back over to Jacob to introduce the next speaker. Thanks so much.